Jai Hind to all. My name is Vaishali Deshwal and currently I'm working as an assistant professor at AKGEC. Today's lecture is about blockchain architecture design and the code for this subject is KCS 714. So these are some of the topics which I will be covering in this presentation. So the topics, they are all related to the blockchain for government, that what are the several strategies which can be taken by the government, blockchain strategies taken by the government to resolve some challenges which are associated with the existing or the traditional systems, social welfare systems. So first system is the digital identification management, second is land record and other type of the record which kept between the government entities. Second is the public distribution social welfare system, PDS system, and different social welfare systems. Then the cryptography technique, and the last is privacy and security on blockchain. So these are some of the previous year questions which were asked in the UT exams. So let's do the analysis. In 2020 to 21, so the question from token was asked, then again the question from tokenization was asked, and the different types of blockchain, explain why the blockchain needs a token to operate. So what is token and tokenization, then limitation of blockchain, and the last question is about cryptographic algorithm in the blockchain. So these were the questions which were asked in 2022 to 23. Again, we can see that the question from tokens in land records was asked, then the security aspects of blockchain, and draw and explain the architecture of the IDM, digital identification system, DIM we can say, or digital identification. Then how blockchain can be used in the PDS and other social welfare systems. So when we talk about the social welfare systems, it can be anything related to the government schemes or the smart cities, for example water management, and related to the government schemes, this is in systems related to the government schemes. Last question again is about the security and the privacy issues in the blockchain. Then these were some questions which were asked between 2023 to 24. So here the first question is about the use cases for blockchain applications. Second is about the cryptographic algorithm. Then how blockchain can use the cryptography techniques and how cryptography provides the trustless environment in blockchain network. Then two sectors were asked. First is the healthcare sector and the energy resource management, that too in the smart cities. So explain the government adoption of blockchain in healthcare sector, and second was the energy resource management in smart cities. Last is the role of the blockchain for government with respect to this DIM, that is digital identity management, land records means something related to land registry, and other kind of record which can be kept between the different government entities. So this is the first topic, and let's see that what is blockchain and how it can be useful for handling the several challenges associated with the existing systems, existing social welfare systems. So first is that what is blockchain. So blockchain based government model, with the help of these kinds of model, the businesses or the government, they can share the resources over distributed ledger. So it's a ledger, and that too distributed. It's a core property of blockchain that it is distributed, and thus it eliminates a single point of failure, and it helps to protect the citizens' data and government data. Secondly, these are several applications where the government can use blockchain technology. So first is the DIM, digital identity management, the virtual representation or the virtual IDs of a human in order to just distinguish them or uniquely identify them. Then land records, and then PDS systems and different social welfare systems or schemes of the government. Now, these are some of the advantages. A blockchain-based government can have. For example, with the help of blockchain, the government can store data, that too securely. And second, there will be a reduction of labor-intensive process, reduction of the excessive cost which are associated with accountability management, and reduction potential for corruption and abuse. And with the help of all these features of blockchain, trust will increase in the government and its schemes and online civil systems or administration. Now, this is the first area or the application that where the government can apply blockchain. This is DIM, that is Digital Identity Management. So, digital identity management, it's a process, it's a cybersecurity process that deals with the efficient management and the storage of the digital identities. So, let's understand that what is digital identity. So, a digital identity is a virtual representation of an individual in digital world. For example, login credentials, then biometric data, email addresses and DIDs. This terminology, again, it is very important. Decentralized identifiers, and they all are the examples of digital identities. Now, why we are using such kind of the identities? So, in the realm of cybersecurity, digital identities play a very indispensable role in regulating access to the network resources. So, any resources or any application or the device which seeks access to the network resources, it first obtain a unique digital identity, and this digital identity, it contains permissions or authorizations. They need to interact with the resource. So, because of this, we need, or a person needs, a unique digital identity in order to have a virtual representation. For example, so this is a second example. If a user would need a AWS account to access some of the resources in AWS environment, then the account functions as their digital identity on AWS, and with the help of these things or digital identities, this grant them the access to define different cloud computing or the services, you can say. Okay, so here you can define that a digital identity, it defines who, what, which and for how. For example, who can access what, under which circumstances and for how long. So basically, this identity management or digital identities, they are just providing the access of the resources over the network. Now, these are some of the problems which are associated with the current identity management systems. And what are these? First is that whenever a person is going to transact anything, so online transactions, they require individual to disclose their specific personal informations before they proceed to access the services. So, for example, before financial transactions carried out on the platform, for example, Amazon Pay, PayPal or Google Wallet, among the others, their users they are always required to input their sign up and login details and the other details of financial or personal details. And every time an individual discloses this information, it gets stored on the numerous internet databases. So, and there is no guarantee that it will not be shared with a third party without the subject consent. So, this is the major challenge which is, or the problem you can say, which is associated with the existing IDMs. So, there can be a problem of digital cloning, security issues, and gaining access to a major database which contains personal or the financial information. It may exemplify the high vulnerability of the current system. So, these are some of the challenges. Again, I have just listed out some more challenges associated with the traditional IDM systems. So first is the regulatory compliances. For example, this is the regulatory compliance in European Union, and this compliance is in US. So all these compliances, they require some strict management of sensitive information. Second is insiders threat, then lack of provisioning oversight, means most of the cloud accounts, they can be unmanaged or shadow accounts without any central management. Then data breaches. So the traditional or the current or existing systems which are centralized, they can be at the risk of data breaches in comparison to that of the decentralization systems or decentralized one. Then enforced password policies. So it is very difficult to remediate the compromised password within a short span of time. Next is inadequate access control. So the weak password or not monitoring that who accesses, who can lead to the unauthorized access. So it can lead to the inadequate access control. Now come to the solution, that how can these problems of the IDM systems can be managed with the help of the blockchain by government, or how blockchain can be used in this area. So first thing is that the blockchain can be used to protect the individual's identity from theft with the help of its features, and the technology, it can help the businesses to build strong blockchain which can handle the issue of reconciliation or authorization or authentication, and it will allow to have or to create the encrypted digital identities which will offer more comprehensive security features, and it will save the customers and the institutions valuable time and resources. So next is, these are some of the features, for example, decentralization and the transparency. The blockchain technology runs as a system of decentralization and the transparencies. So when we come to the solution of any of to deal the challenges associated with the different social welfare systems, so we have to list out the core properties of the blockchain and describe those core properties in that respect. For example, the decentralization and the transparency, they are one of the features of blockchain, and with the help of this, the individuals, they can able to create the self-sovereign identity. What does it mean? It simply means that, or refers an identity which is fully controlled and maintained personally by the individuals, and thus it handles the issue of identity theft. Next is the use of permission blockchain, or you can list out the different types of blockchain and you can explain the core features of those blockchains and how they are how they can solve the problems which are associated with the current systems. For example, permission blockchain, they provide the decentralization method of registrations, and because of this, the identity that is not dependent on any centralized authority cannot be controlled by a third person without its consent. So in conclusion, we can say that blockchain can help to develop a efficient IMS, that is identity management system, that gives full control to the users. Now the second topic is land records. So in land records, the main problem is of the land registry or the data with the lands, and there are so many discrepancies involved in it. So land registry is one of the use case under it that involves a lot of middlemen to put trust in the system, and tracking is also very difficult in this particular system, that who earns which piece of the property is quite challenging, or you can say a limitation in the existing system. So it is quite common to confront the discrepancies within this. And what are these discrepancies? First is the counterfeit titles or the forged documents, so you can say manipulated documents, and the complete loss of the records. For example, a person who is handling the records manually, so there will be high chances of just losing the data. Then it will lead to the court battles. Then the transparent nature of the blockchain. or other features, for example, immutability and auditability and traceability features, they can they have advantage, or they can provide the solutions for such kind of the problems. So these are some of the challenges. First challenge is the increase in the number of the court cases because of the discrepancies involved in the land records. And second is that there are the problems of double selling, and it is very challenging to track those double sellings. Second is the known existence of the unique record, and it is also very difficult to verify all kinds of the land records. Then lot of paperwork involved for obtaining the loans from bank by putting land as a collateral security, because a person does not have the sufficient documents, and it is also difficult to obtain the documents from the financial or the revenue services, or they have to face they have to wait for the long period of time. So the financial institution, they do not get the factual picture of the piece of the land earning by a particular person, and again the delay in the obtaining documents. So all these 3 points, they refers to the problem faced by the customer and by the financial institution, or delay in obtaining the document, and thus all these things, these are the hurdles in getting the loan by putting land as collateral. So the data in the land records, they are not susceptible to alteration, as each of these departments rely totally on the integrity. So we need to ensure this, that the data in the land record, it must be immutable, that it must not be manipulated, it should be same. And secondly, history shows, or the data shows, that the duplicate registration documents, they can be generated by manipulating the original documents, and one property can be sold to the multiple purchasers. So if we are applying the blockchain in this, then with the help of some of the core features of it, for example, immutability, traceability, auditability, we can ensure that the data must same between the different parties, and throughout the process it will remain same. Now, how blockchain can be a solution for this? So firstly, it can help to accelerate the process by removing or by limiting the role of middlemen, or you can say intermediaries in the land registry process. And it has a feature that is a distributed database, so it can offer that where any person can record and access the information without the involvement of any centralized authority. And with the help of blockchain, the digital titles, they can be created, which can improve the overall process. And all these things, they are quite helpful for the homeowners. They can transfer the land ownership legitimately to buyers without needing the third party verification. So all these things, all these features, they leads to accelerating the process or fasten the process, land registry process. Second is the fraud cases. So blockchain can help to reduce the fraud cases. How? With the help of blockchain, one can upload the documents to the blockchain network, and where the signers, they can sign the document, and all other users, they can just verify it. Then next feature is the immutable record. So by just having the immutable record of the transactions, the blockchain can prove that one person is the owner of the land title, and can obviously preventing the forgery or the manipulation of the documents, you can say. So blockchain land registry platforms, we can say that these kind of platform, they serves as the proof of existence or ownership or exchange and transactions. Third is the that it helps to bring the transparency with the smart contracts. So smart contract is one of the main property of blockchain, and smart contracts is a piece of contract that automatically executed whenever a transaction has to be added in the blockchain, and it will decide that whether to add the transaction or not. So here this particular feature helps to bring the transparency in the system. How? So there are few people who buy property directly, and the process of loan is very slower due to some administrative issues. So that can be fastened up by just having the smart contract features, so which can automate the verified transactions. Next is that with the help of blockchain land registry platform, one can create the digital and decentralized IDs that do as seller and buyer, and with the help of such things it is possible to track the history of ownership records. Okay, so in today's lecture we have discussed two topics. First one is the role of blockchain. What is blockchain? What is the role of blockchain for the government? And then the second topic was IDMs, that is the digital identity systems. Digital identity systems, what are the digital identities, and what are some of the examples, how digital identities can be useful for a person, and some of the examples also. Then we have discussed the problems that associated with the existing identity management systems, and how blockchain can be a solution for resolving such kind of the problems. Then the second topic was land records, and in land record main use case which we were discussing is land registry. So in land registry we have seen that how blockchain can be a solution, and what are some of the challenges which are associated with the existing land registry system. So these were the challenges, and these were some of the solutions that it helps to accelerate the process, then reducing the fraud cases, bring transparency with the smart contracts or the set of the policies or some of the consensus mechanism. And the next topic will be blockchain in healthcare. So I think it's a good point to stop here, and we will in the next class we'll cover the further use cases that where we can use the blockchain, for example in healthcare, in the energy resource management, in smart cities, and in PDA systems. Thank you.